A congressional hearing was held on Capitol Hill to look at the Department of Labor's books, and the results were shocking. We're joined by Americans for Limited Government's Rick Manning. He's our communications director, and he's a former appointed official for the Department of Labor. Now, what do you think is going on with this? They can't find the money that they spent.
Well, it appears as though they've done a new computer system which doesn't exactly work. And rather than being smart and mirroring their system and keeping the old system that worked in place, they've got a new computer system which is not tracking the money. And so the auditing firm can't find the money. They don't know where it's been spent, and they can't audit the books.
Your humble reporter filed a report on this.
Americans for Limited Government headed to Capitol Hill to cover a congressional hearing on the independent audit of the Department of Labor's financial statements, which, well, smelled funny. First off, we had to hang out outside the committee room. You see, the Democratic majority would not allow a group called Americans for Limited Government inside. We had to get video from the House of Representatives. The Labor Department, this far from limited government agency, has a budget of roughly $16 billion annually, and it was still spending like mad.
By the end of the 2010 fiscal year, which would have been September 30th of 2010, when it was time to audit the 2010 fiscal year for the department, the documents and materials necessary for the IG's contractor to conduct that audit were not available.
The Inspector General's office hired KPMG, an accounting firm, to do the auditing. They turned up weaknesses in the department's finances, and no one from KPMG was at the hearing to testify.
And I will say, Mr. Chairman, that this is my 7th audit that I've been involved in. 6 as a city commissioner and a city mayor. And I've never one time attended an audit where the auditors weren't there to answer questions.
Minnesota Congressman John Klein, who will head up this Education and Labor Committee next Congress, gave Americans for Limited Government this statement. Quote, "The Department of Labor's failure to achieve a clean audit means, at a minimum, we have no way of knowing whether the agency's financial records are accurate. Today's hearing will not be the last time Congress looks at the Labor Department's books." State Department representatives were asked to expeditiously provide financial statements for audit in the future, and with concerns about a near $14 trillion debt, Americans are concerned about where their tax dollars are going.
I'd like to use that line with my landlord. You know, I had a new computer system. It messed up my money. I don't know where the money is, so I can't pay my rent this month. Do you think they'd let me get away with that?
I suspect you'd be one of the many homeless.
All right. Thank you very much. For more on these and other topics, visit our webpage, getliberty.org.